Have all our committee members, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that record button, and then I can pass it over to our committee chair.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. This is Executive Officer Christy Underwood. I don't believe we have a committee chair for this committee. So we'll go ahead and we'll call the roll because election of a committee chair is going to be one of our first items. So if I could ask Natalie to call the roll.
Tanya Fairley.
Present.
Yolanda Jimenez.
Present.
Colette Kavanaugh.
Present.
Jacob Rostovsky.
Present.
Steve Weeks.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and get the committee started, and we'll go ahead and move to election of a committee chairperson. Any nominations for committee chairperson for this committee?
I nominate. You can also nominate yourself. I wanted to let you know. Anybody? Thank you, Sabina. I don't remember if Steve is eligible, but this is Yolanda, and I would nominate Steve if he is willing to accept.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yes, I would be. I want to. This year, we're working on some subjects that are very near and dear to my heart, so I'd be pleased.
I second. This is Tanya Fairley.
All right, we have a motion and a second for Steve Weeks to serve as chair. We will go ahead and open it up for public comment.
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I've opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. And I'll go ahead and pause a moment to allow the public time to access these features and submit their requests. All right, and seeing none, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
All right.
Thank you so much, and I'll have Natalie call the roll for the vote.
Tanya Fairley.
Yes.
Yolanda Jimenez.
Yes.
Colette Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Jacob Rostovsky.
Yes.
Steve Weeks.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Steve, I turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, I guess. Thank you, everyone. Our next item on our agenda is the discussion and the approval of our minutes from January 9th. And as we go into that, can I just state that do we have a professional service that's doing our minutes? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Whoever they are, I think they do an extraordinary job. I mean, we have very complete and accurate minutes. We rarely have to change anything there. But because they're so complete, it's good for the other board members that aren't at this meeting and the public in general to see the depth of discussion we go into. So they should be complimented on that. But as soon as I say that, someone will find a problem in today's minutes.
I know, this is Jacob. I know I'm ineligible to vote since I wasn't part of the last meeting, but I do say I agree with Steve. These really help prepare for, this one. So I appreciate whoever took these notes or these meeting minutes.
I was just kidding. It's actually me. I'm just kidding.
I doubt it.
So do we need to motion to approve the minutes?
Yes, we do.
Okay, this is Yolanda Jimenez. I motion to approve the minutes, the former minutes for January 9th, 2023.
And I second.
All right, so let us, are we going to ask for public comment now?
Yes, please.
Let's go to public comment on the January 9th minutes.
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I've opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen, or use the raise hand function. And seeing no requests for public comment, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Please. All right, that being the case, let's then vote on the approval of the January 9th minutes.
Steve Weeks,
Yes.
Tanya Fairley,
Yes.
Yolanda Jimenez,
Yes.
Colette Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Jacob Rostovsky.
I think I have to abstain, but yes, if not.
So sorry.
No worries.
Motion passes.
Excellent. Let's move on to our fourth item of business today, which is the review and our discussion of the exam pass rates. And I think, Christy, you want to lead us through that?
I sure will. Okay, so in your packets is our latest exam pass rates. And we what we are showing you here today is that the pass rates are slowly climbing, which is good. We have displayed Q1, Q2, and then our current Q3. So you can see that slowly but surely they are getting back up and looking better. However, we did want to let this committee know that we have a lot of things in motion in our office right now regarding this. I met with the Bureau of Private Post-Secondary last week. We have with their bureau chief. We have a couple of upcoming meetings that we're scheduling with them to really start looking at some of our historically low passing schools that have not had a very acceptable pass rate in quite some time. And so we will be reporting more as these conversations go on to this committee. We are also have been working on some additional data to show you. We were not able to get completed that by this meeting. We do think we'll have some additional information at our April board meeting that will expand. We talked a little bit last meeting about the bell curve. So we've looked into that, and we're going to show you some data on that at the board meeting. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to finalize it appropriately yet for this meeting, but it is something that we're working on internally. So a lot of moving parts on our pass rates. I have monthly calls with the exam vendor as well to talk about any things that they might have. And we have just launched the ability for schools to be able to look at where their students are doing poorly in which content area. That ability has just been given to us. We have not rolled that out yet, but we will be rolling that out to schools. We don't have enough data in there yet because that data wasn't retroactive. So we can't take a school and show them all their data that they've ever had. So it began when we started passing basically the school code to our exam vendor so that they can have that. So in about a month, they're going to start seeing some really valuable data coming for schools. They can really see where their students are struggling. And it's going to obviously be a great benefit to schools to have that data, something they've asked for forever, and we've never been able to provide that to them. So super excited about that. Other than that, unless there's any questions, it's kind of just an update today for the committee. But know that there's a lot of working progress going on here at the office.
Christy, on that new data that's going to be soon, that's being published now, I guess, was this done in consultation with post-secondary? Was this their idea too? What sort of conversations are we having with them, and specifically ideas that they may have also on dealing with the pass rate?
No, this school information, schools have asked for this information for a very long time. We just haven't had the ability to give it to them. And this is something that our current exam vendor, PSI, has the ability to do. Really, it's the schools that have always wanted this information, and this is just the first time we've actually been able to do that. As for the conversations with the Bureau, there's no set pass rate in anyone's statutes. So we don't have a set pass rate. The Bureau doesn't have a set pass rate. There is a pass rate for those schools that are accredited, which is a concern because we've found several schools that are accredited that are well below that threshold of pass rates. So it's, again, there's a lot of different agencies involved. When it comes to pass rates alone, the Bureau doesn't really look at that, but they will look at quality of education. And that's one of our meetings that we'll be having, is really seeing what we can do together to dive deep into these schools that have experienced such low pass rates for a long period of time.
I have a question. I know that we're working on finding out more information, but is there any, like, a little amount of information we have so far about the dip in electrolysis, and maybe like what content is, more difficult to pass, like what areas they're having difficulty passing?
We do have some information, and I'll see how I can word this correctly. So in the electrology field, there are very few schools. There are really 3 schools in electrology, and I can say that we have some concerns with one of those schools, and we are looking into that. I'm trying to think of what I can appropriately say. I really, actually, all I can say is, yes, we believe we've found the problem, but it's not actually something I can discuss publicly.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And my question was more, obviously around consumer protection. So,
Yes.
are we, are the pass rates in areas around health, safety, right? And if so, I always like to reframe where like the low pass rates might be a good thing initially, because we're seeing ways in which we can improve upon to now protect consumers even further. So that was kind of my purpose of the question was, is this potentially a good thing because we're sussing out potential liabilities, problems?
And really, yes, especially in that field. That's obviously, the electrology field, which we're going to be talking quite a bit about more at the board meeting, because we're going to be really talking about scope of practice for electrology, because we want to make sure all the board members understand what electrology is and how it's growing in the country right now, this service. So we're going to be talking about that at the board meeting, but spot on what you mentioned is it's an invasive procedure, electrology, and it is a field that somebody might get injured in that they might not want to report. There's a lot of sensitive situations for electrology, and somebody who gets harmed, people don't always want to, they don't want to report that. So, as it comes to that, we want to be sure we are putting very well qualified electrologists into the industry. So yes, I mean, in a sense, the people who are failing probably need some more training.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Do we have any more comment on committee members on this subject? If not, do we want to hear any public comment that may be out there?
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. I'll pause a moment to allow the public time to access these features and submit their requests. All right, and seeing none, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
Oh, I apologize, Chair Weeks. I think you are muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Let's move on to item number 5 and any public comment on items that are not on our agenda today that someone would like to comment on.
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I've opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment for items not on the agenda, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. And I'll pause a moment to allow the public time to access these features and submit their requests. All right, and seeing none, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Our next item is going to be to our committee members here. If you have any suggestions for future agenda items for this committee, that could be very helpful. Don't call me, just do that.
Mine always goes around accessibility and like training and well, I say training and development. That's the world I come from. But accessibility during school and education to sort of teach materials or have materials be processed for individuals who might have different ways of learning or come from different backgrounds or like non-traditional schooling. Just thinking of ways to have the material more approachable, if that makes sense. So I'm fighting a cold, so my brain's a little discombobulated today, but yeah, just accessibility is a big thing for me.
All right, if there's nothing else for future agenda items, I agree with you. Accessibility is really important, and we kind of want to continue that theme ongoing. That's everything in education and pass rates. So that being the case, we are then ready to adjourn. So I would move that we adjourn.
Thank you. So we'll take a moment to swap out committee members on our panel and start our next committee when we are ready, which will be education and outreach.
All right, thanks.